Hold on a minute. I gotta lift my knees. Okay.
Barb Tarbox is dying, but she's not taking it lying down.
Please don't fall today. I don't think I could take that.
She's up and out on most days, spreading her message with the help of her best friend, Tracy Mueller.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Today, a speech to more than 700 students at Otwell Junior High in Edmonton. Talking to these kids is what keeps Barb Tarbox going since being diagnosed with terminal cancer in September.
I've been a smoker for nearly 30 years. Check this out. 30 years, guys. See, I wanted to be with a cool crowd. The in crowd, though, were all smokers. So one little drag of a cigarette started me smoking. Oh, but now, at the age of 41, I am dying. I am dying before you.
I could sit on my couch and I could cry and feel sorry for myself, or I could help change a life of another. And by God, I'm not standing still. And I tell the kids that.
She targets young teenagers, but doesn't spare them.
I'm not going to lie or misconceive in any way, oh, I'll just give you the soft stuff. No, that's not what lung cancer is all about.
Seizures. I experienced my first seizure a few weeks back. Let me tell you, that's pretty scary when you're out in the mall and you have a seizure. It scared the daylights out of me.
She tells students what it's like to live with tumors in her brain, in her lungs, and near her heart. How the cancer is slurring her speech, destroying her body.
Look at my arms. I don't know if you can see it, but it's where the bones stick out. You know what? The bones stick out of every area of my body now. My feet, my legs are blue, or they like to call it cyanotic, which is like a purple tinge. And you know what happens? When your tissues start to die, they turn black. Oh yes. Oh yes, people, they turn black. And there isn't, let me tell you, a perfume on the market that can hide that smell. All a result, 100% smoking.
I'm angry with myself for not listening to my mother's doctor when he said, Barb, 20 years ago, he said, do you smoke? And I said, yes, I do. And my mother was diagnosed stage 4 terminal as well. And he said, if you don't quit smoking, I'm going to see you here in 20 years. 19 years later, I'm back a year earlier because I didn't quit smoking.
I love hairstyles. I loved hair. 41 years of hair gone in 10 bloody days.
What's worse than me ripping off my hat and showing them what cancer does? They have to see the honesty.
No, I didn't get chemo.
Now, how would you feel if you're 14 and somebody said, hey, and you're a smoker, do you want to end up like me?
You are all so much above this. You are so much above it. You're intelligent. You're energetic. You have the world before you in the palms of your hands. Any dream you have is possible. But if you walk the path I walked, this is the path you will walk. And I don't want any of you ever to walk this walk. because it's the railings. There you go.
The power of her performance has made the suburban mom famous. Tonight, she's a guest on an Edmonton radio show.
8.5 minutes now before 7 o'clock. Al Stafford with you. Barb Tarbox in the studio with me. Shirley, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Barb. I read recently in the paper that you're still a smoker.
Yep.
Do you worry about the secondhand smoke in your child? Do you smoke around your child?
I go outside. I actually go in the backyard. Secondhand smoke, yes, causes lung cancer.
This is the third time she's been on Al Stafford's call-in show.
I think she's finally found a way, or somehow found a way, to put like a human face on cancer. I had a truck driver phone me about 10 days after the second interview that I had with Barb, and he was in tears. And he told me that after listening to my interview with Barb when I interviewed her the second time, he threw a cigarette package out the window, and he hadn't smoked in 10 days at that point. And he believed that Barb had actually saved his life. It's just such a compelling story and it's so believable and so real, and people can reach out and almost touch it. And I think for that reason, that's why she's had the impact she's had.
Greg Southam of the Edmonton Journal was overwhelmed the first time he covered Tarbox.
I was quite taken with Barb right from the very first day of meeting her, and I thought, this is an amazing person. What she's doing, the courage that she has to get up there and expose herself to these kids.
He was so impressed with Tarbox's spirit, he persuaded his newspaper to chronicle her final days.
She's just become a local icon, really, and I suspect that can spread, and probably if she's able to keep going long enough, that could spread right across the country and right across North America with the interest in the States.
Her story has caught the attention of an American network. Tarbox is a former model, now returning to the limelight in the most dramatic anti-smoking campaign Albertans have ever seen in newspapers and on TV.
You can't get this kind of pain. It's just not worth it, the cigarettes. You have to quit smoking.
Hi, Grace. It's Tracy Mueller, Barb Tarbox's friend. Yes, we received your email. Barb would love to do a presentation at your school.
Tracy Mueller takes time off work to help with her friend's campaign.
To the 23rd open, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
She's barely keeping up with the requests from schools. Tarbox has already spoken to 15,000 kids. She wants to reach 50,000 before she dies.
And it's all depending on her health.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Tarbox's health is declining quickly. This blood test was ordered because she could barely stand up. Her illness forced her to cancel 2 appearances. She knows she has little time left to make the impact she hopes to make.
This is me. This is my nose. This is my mouth. This is me. And then, it begins.
Are you trying to scare them?
Do you know what? I would hope to God this would scare them, because it scared the daylights out of me. Look at me.
Straight radiation to your brain. Nothing protecting you, nothing covering. And we're talking rays of it. We're not talking a quick picture, guys. We're getting direct radiation. But think about, what happens? Ooh, your brain begins to burn. Does anyone want to imagine the smell?
Barbara may save more lives in the time that she's speaking to people than I may be able to in my career.
Dr. Ross Halpern diagnosed Tarbox's cancer just 4 months ago. What do you think it takes physically for her to get out the door and do that every day?
Again, if you've not ever suffered that way and have not felt the overwhelming fatigue that a patient like Barbara must feel, I honestly can't answer that myself. I'm sure it takes extraordinary willpower, and I honestly don't know, if facing the same position, whether myself or anybody else would be able to rise to that challenge. And again, another reason to tip your hat to the work that Barbara is doing in her remaining lifetime.
No one can say how much time or how little Barb Tarbox has left. She wasn't expected to live this long. There's no longer any treatment, just medication to help the symptoms. She already passed her own most painful hurdle, staying alive long enough to see one last Christmas with her daughter Mackenzie and husband Pat. She recorded this home video.
Right now, she's angry. And it's okay. She needs a lot of hugs and a lot of affection. And I'm just sitting holding her every moment I can. And we have talked about everything, when what's a crush to this is it. So right now she's lashing out. I remember getting mad at my mother. It's normal.
I'm thankful to God for giving us another Christmas. Huh? I love you, Kenzie.
This is my best friend, Tracy. Now I want you to think. You got 5 minutes. I want you to imagine your best friend or your sibling or your cousin lying on a hospital bed. And you have to enter and say goodbye to the person for the very last time. The very last time. You're not going to see them smile. You're not going to hear them laugh. You're not going to see them cry. And you're not going to be there for them. Because you're dying as a result of a stupid cigarette. What would you say? Think about it. You can't run away from reality. This is what it does. It will cut your heart in pieces.
Barb asks the kids to look at somebody close to them, and like she looks at me. And that gets me every time, the same part. I thought it would get easier with each presentation, but it's getting harder because I know that the end is coming.
Thank you.
My heart was racing because it was so intense. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be this intense because it totally got to you.
What about it made you so sad?
Well, the fact that we know she's dying.
She's only 41.
She has a 9-year-old
daughter.
Yeah, daughter. Family.
Well, I was just hoping when everyone was listening to it that all the people I know that smoke would take that to heart, that they would stop, because it can happen to everyone.
I never knew that it can affect you like that, even though you're at a young age. So.
I think it impacts me on smoking, and then I'll probably quit.
My mom smokes, and so does my dad.
Okay, you know what? I got a great suggestion.
Is there one moment in the presentations that stands out in your mind as the moment?
I think it was a young man that him and his brother. His brother has been trying to get him to quit smoking for years. And at the end of the presentation, he came to me and he actually crumpled up his cigarettes and he put them in the palms of my hand. And he just wanted to thank me because he's quitting. He's never going to smoke again. And I said, "You're going to make it." I just had this overwhelming feeling. I am forever grateful because the strength that that young man gave me. Every school gives me so much strength.
Barb Tarbox counts on the strength she gets from the kids to help her carry on. She hopes she gets through to them in a way that no one got through to her.
I promise I won't anymore.
For The National, I'm Judy Piercey in Edmonton.